What's up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel, and as you can tell in this video, we will be talking about the best way to study for NCLEX, more specifically how I studied and how I prepared to pass my first time. So for starters, I want to say that most of all of the tools I will talk about in this video have a option for you to buy it for the PN NCLEX as well as the RN NCLEX. So keep that in mind. But I don't want to keep this video too long, so we're gonna go ahead and get right into this video. So I want to start off this video by doing a little quick runoff on NCLEX preparation tools that you can look into, because you don't necessarily have to use what I used, but I would suggest you to. But I will give you other options or things for you to look up, and the things that I am about to say will be the things that I have mostly heard. It won't be every single thing, so you will definitely have to look up the stuff on your own, but I just want to put some things out there. So for one, UWorld, which I will be talking about in this video.
Nurse Achieve, Marquet, Hurst, Kaplan, Archer Review, NCLEX exam cram sheet, 35-page NCLEX exam study guide, ATI, NCSBN review, and Saunders.
So that is a lot of different things, and along with me running off those different tools, some of them are free, some of them aren't, but some of them are cheaper than others, and some of them may be more helpful than others. So I want to first start off by talking about the study materials that I used to help me pass the NCLEX the first time. So for one, I want to talk about UWorld, and I will post the price of their QBank on here somewhere. It is a little bit expensive. I think I chose the $159 testing option, and that option came with all 2,183 questions along with one practice exam. So I ended up taking my practice exam for UWorld the day before my test. It is a little bit on the expensive side, and that is sometimes why people don't buy UWorld, but it is definitely helpful. It's definitely worth the money. And with that being said, if you buy UWorld, I would definitely put your money to use. Like, do all 2,183 questions. Yes, it's a lot of questions. Yes, that's gonna take a lot of time. For example, like, I studied for basically about a month and a half. And probably not even all of that because I took a lot of days off. But I originally started, from the time that I started studying up until about 3 weeks before my test, I would do 75 questions a day. So I wouldn't do like straight 75. I would do like sets of 10 questions, sets of 20 questions. It just depended on how I felt that day. So originally I was doing it based on like do all the 10 questions and then read all 10 rationales, all 10 questions, all 10 rationales. And I learned quick that that was not working, that was not helping me or anything. So I quickly changed to turning my UWorld to tutor mode, and in tutor mode they change it to where after each question you answer, you see the rationale, you see why you got it wrong, and you learn from the rationale to better help you answer the next question that you get asked on that concept right. So for example, UWorld is set up by system and subject. So you first pick the subject, so you either want to do adult med surg, or you want to do OB, or you want to do mental health, critical care, and so on. And once you click each individual one, or if you do more than one at a time, it'll show all of the different systems underneath it. So if you click OB and you want to learn about OB and do the questions, then it's going to have intrapartum, postpartum, and antepartum on there, and you can either click all of them together or you can click one at a time, and it'll show you next to it how many questions that specific area has. So Also, along with the adult med surg, it'll break it up to respiratory or renal or cardiovascular and etc. So that is how I did mine. I would do all cardiovascular or all respiratory, just because a lot of that stuff I probably have not seen or learned about since my first or second semester in college or nursing school. So it was definitely a lot of stuff that I had to refresh myself on, especially with cardiovascular. I used to be so good at cardiovascular. That was probably one of the only tests that I got like a really high grade on. And as I was taking those quizzes on UWorld, you could definitely tell that I needed to review on that. So along with me doing tutor mode, I would definitely suggest you do it on tutor mode or on any site. It don't have to be UWorld. Any QBank that you use, do tutor mode and do small questions at a time, because say your first question that you're answering right now, the concept of the question or the stem of the question is about prill drugs, and you know prill drugs are about part of the cardiovascular system, and it's an antihypertensive. So now you got this question either right or wrong, and in the rationale it tell you everything you need to know that they feel like is important about prill drugs. So this question may be asking about an adverse effect of it, and now you learned that it deals with potassium and it deals with a cough and all of this good stuff. So now 5 questions later you get another question on prill drugs, and it's asking you in a whole different angle of the drug itself. So now you have learned information about it in this question, and you have to reuse that to answer the next question right, since it's not the same concept. And I feel like with you doing it like that, you really learn, like it really sticks in your head, because you'll get to be able to see more and more questions about the same concept but in different ways, because NCLEX is not going to ask you the same way that UWorld asks you, or NCSB review is going to ask you. So I would definitely again do tutor mode. So I personally did all 2,183 questions, and again it took me a month and a half. So towards the 3rd week before my test, I started doing 100 questions and up a day, and it would just depend on how I would feel. Sometimes I could do up to 200. Sometimes I was barely making 100, and I would have to kind of make up for what I didn't do that day the next day. Then on my practice test that I took the day before my NCLEX, I did receive a very high chance of passing. I want to say I got 67 out of 100 questions right. And I do want to go on and say more about the practice test, is that after analyzing kind of how they do their test and reviewing my answers and the percentages of how many people got each question right from 1 to 100, you can see, and anybody can go to UWorld like right now watching the video, and you can see what I'm talking about. But question 1, maybe like 80% or 80 something and up percent of people who took that question on UWorld got it correct. So usually if it's a higher percentage, then I mean it is an easier question. So as you go down the different questions all the way to 100, the percentage starts to drop. So I took this as meaning that the further you get to, or closer you get to 100, the harder the questions get. So the last question, number 100 on my practice exam, showed that 20% of people got that question right. So that is why I said that. So I don't feel like it's an exact replica of NCLEX, because that's not how NCLEX is at all. But I do still feel like in a way it helps you, so you can kind of see if you can get the harder questions and the easier questions. It also shows you kind of like a chart on how you've been doing. It lets you go back and review the questions and the quizzes that you have done already previously anytime that you want to. But yeah, so you don't have to buy UWorld with the practice exam. I would suggest you to, but I know how expensive it is. So I mean, do what you can do. So the next thing that I used mostly during my studying for NCLEX was Mark K. And a lot of y'all won't know what that is unless you've watched a lot of people's videos and read a lot of people things on different sites and social media or whatnot. And Mark K is a man who used to help write NCLEX, so he kind of knows or kind of teaches tips and tricks on how to answer questions on NCLEX when you see them, and the type of questions you should be looking forward to seeing with certain subjects and parts of the test. I've never really learned ABGs. I had just kind of learned it for the test, and after the test I never really looked back over it. But he teaches you a really easy way to remember the signs and symptoms, because he don't teach by list, he teaches by concept, and his concepts are really helpful. I didn't necessarily benefit from any of his tips and tricks on my actual NCLEX, but everybody's NCLEX is different, so you may most definitely see something from his review on your test. So other than Mark K, or actually with Mark K, this is the notebook that I wrote like notes down from his review. He does have like certain sites, he does have printed out and typed up notes of his review sessions, but I decided to write them on my own because when I write, it kind of helps me remember better. And I did try writing down like the rationales and stuff from UWorld originally, but I just felt like that was a waste of my time because, for one, it takes forever, and I know for a fact that I'm not about to look back over it. So I stopped doing that, and I started typing it up, but then I stopped typing it up because, again, I was not going to look back over it. So it was just taking up time, even though it was less time than originally taken. So I just stopped. So yeah, I did write it down, and I would also suggest you write down any rationales or notes as you go through whatever tool you choose to use. So I also used Hurst. Hurst was given to me and my classmates through my school. And again, if you don't get it through your school, I think it is pretty expensive. And if you want to spend your money on Hurst, go right ahead. I didn't benefit from Hurst that much. Mostly what Hurst I did was the practice tests. They have 4 practice tests of 125 questions, and their website says that if you get a 77% on their practice test, then basically you should be good on NCLEX. That is one thing that I will say in my next video about NCLEX or preparing for NCLEX. Do not base your knowledge off of scores, because I was only in the 63rd, I think, ranked in UWorld, but that doesn't mean that I don't like know the information. That just means as I was learning, I was in the 63rd rank. But again, yeah, with Hurst I did the 4th test, and I would do one like each week. And I think another thing that didn't get me to the 77% was that I didn't use that to study in the first place, so I didn't really understand or like know how to analyze the questions and everything to benefit me. But I would get in sometimes the low 60s, mid 60s. But my first exam that I took on there, I got a 73, and that was probably the closest to 77 that I got, but I still passed my NCLEX on the first time. So definitely don't base your stuff off of scores. The next thing I want to talk about, I already talked about the practice exam that I took on UWorld. I want to talk about the one that I took from this book. You've probably already seen it. It's through Kaplan. And I've heard a lot of bad things about Kaplan. This may not be specifically what they were talking bad about, but it has a 265 question test in the back of this book. And the reason why it's 265 questions is because the normal NCLEX is from 75 to 265 questions. And you hear a lot from people tell you that you should take the most questions that you will possibly take, so when you get in the actual NCLEX, you won't be like scared, or you won't freak yourself out once you get past the minimum. And when I think on here in this book, you were supposed to get a 70% and up on the test in order for you to know your knowledge enough to be good on NCLEX. And I got a 69.8% because I was one question off from getting a 70%. And I just went through and kind of read some of the rationales for the questions I got wrong, but it was 2 days before my test and I just didn't feel like it. So I would get this book because I did feel like it was helpful, like with me seeing those questions and stuff, and a good way to practice. But again, there's other books and other practice exams that you can use. This one does come with 2 practice tests, proven strategies, an online and a video section. So it has 1 practice test in here, and I assumed that the other practice test was online. So yeah, I would look that up. I don't remember how much it cost because I got it during school, but yeah. So I believe that I talked about everything that I used, and I was trying to make this video too long. But if you have like any more questions on what I didn't discuss in this video, or based on the results that I got when I did my UWorld, or I studied any of my tools, then let me know. Also, look into the other like study tools that I said in the beginning of this video. But good luck to anybody who studies. Again, comment if you have any questions, or if you follow me on Instagram or any of my other social media sites. Don't be scared to reach out to me. Thank you again for watching this video, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And the next video I will be uploading will be my top 10 tips regarding preparation for NCLEX and NCLEX. So yeah, be looking out. Bye y'all.